Carroll, the
CTO.
CTO.
Welcome. We're just driving laneless here on 083, the new Audi. Just testing it out. We're driving on very sunny roads where usually the old model used to struggle with detecting the lane lines. As you can see, they're very washed out in the image. I don't know if you really see that. But yeah, the old model used to struggle quite a lot with this, so this is a good test, see how it's going. I thought we'd just take it for a drive.
Hi everyone.
Show everyone 083 is like on our local commute. Do a link change here.
Full end-to-end, let's go, someone said.
Full end-to-end. Yeah, end-to-end is super exciting. We're finally fulfilling the dream of Comma, which is watch people drive and try to mimic that behavior. So yeah, 083 is really a big step forward for openpilot. Hopefully it's the first of many improvements to come.
Yeah, I guess explain for people who don't understand what end-to-end means in the simplest possible terms, what it is, what end-to-end lateral really means.
So end-to-end is different from what we were shipping before, in that before we were using just a model that detects where the lane lines are, and then we use the location of the lane lines to plan a trajectory, in the middle of the lane, basically. But that's different from just training a model that tries to understand where humans would drive, so not thinking about lane lines really specifically, but just looking at a road and planning a route that looks similar to where a human would drive, and then just driving that trajectory. So this end-to-end model is trained that way, so we just give it a lot of data of how humans drive, and then we try to tell it to drive like that. And it's been there's many challenges involved with getting that to work, which we kind of tried to explain in the blog post. And this is really the first release where we've got something that at least kind of works, and it works pretty well. We could drive on it for hours and not really notice too many issues.
Yeah, it does work really well. Especially, like you said, on roads like this where the old model would struggle with detecting the lanes or the lines because they're so washed out. It just seems to know exactly where to drive.
Yeah, it doesn't suffer from these kind of classification bugs. So we use a segment that just detects in the image where the lane lines are, and if there's any problems with that, and we have problems like that with tar lines or with washed out lane lines, then those will end up causing problems in the final model. But because this doesn't use segments or anything to be trained, it's just training on how humans drive, it doesn't suffer from things like that. If it can see in the image things that humans would use on determining where to drive, then it should do fine, and it's not really that susceptible to these kind of bugs, which makes it much more robust in the long term.
Yeah, it's super cool. I know there's one spot on my commute where there's a mispainted lane line that briefly comes from the left lane line, and the lane line model would move over to the right because the lane line edge kind of is closer to the right, but then laneless knows that humans wouldn't follow that little anomaly in the road.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of helps with all those things, and also with other kind of lane-based things. Like in Europe, you have a lot of bike lanes on the road, basically, which you're allowed to drive on. But then the lane line model detects that as a lane line and tries to drive away from it, but then the rest of the road is too narrow. All these kind of nuanced things the laneless model deals much better with, which is really cool. It's just it's a much more better long-term strategy. But what's super exciting is that now we finally released an end-to-end model. We can just keep iterating on that and keep getting better. So that should hopefully the progress will keep going from here forward, because we've finally got this kind of full development loop locked in, because we think this should scale really well.
Yeah, if someone wants to post this in the Discord, go ahead. That's usually what I do, but I'm on the street, so feel free to do that.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone has any questions, or if you think, Chris, there's anything else that's worth trying to explain. Or...
Yeah, know some people are asking about end-to-end longitudinal.
Yeah, so that's the exciting thing now. I mean, we've been spending years on getting end-to-end lateral shipped. It's been a massive project, and we never really know how much more we had to do before we got to a point where it's kind of usable. But now that we're at this stage, this kind of frees up to do more things, because this is a project that was occupying most of our time. And end-to-end longitudinal is on that list. End-to-end longitudinal has some problems that aren't really true in lateral, which is like it's very sensitive to mistakes. If you brake very hard or accelerate very hard at the wrong time, it's kind of pretty uncomfortable. Whereas in lateral, you can still override and correct. So it's I think comfort is more important to get it right from the first time we ship it. But I think once we get to spend time on it, which will be very soon, I think we'll be able to make progress quickly. Hopefully we'll be able to get slowed down for turns, that kind of stuff pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Some people ask what Audi is that?
Oh, this is a Audi 2017 A3, I think.
Prestige. Does it say Prestige anywhere? No.
I don't know if it does, but it's pretty nice. It makes like turbo choo-choo sounds if you accelerate hard. It's kind of like a little go-kart car.
Yes, it is cool.
There's a lot of toilet paper on the road there.
And another thing in 083 is like the massive Volkswagen MQB platform push. Thanks to Jason in the community, we have there's over 10 MQB vehicles added. So it's like a bunch of VWs, a Golf from 2014 to 2017, and it probably would work all the way up to now. MQB is all very similar, so all the cars are basically identical, just with some slight different tuning.
Does it work on the SUVs and stuff too?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
The Passat or whatever it's called, it works on. Literally every VW it'll work on.
Nice.
So it's really easy to port if someone has a VW that isn't supported. Just join the Discord, join the Volkswagen channel, and probably someone can help you get it up and running. But it's very exciting now that Volkswagen has fingerprinting 2.0 that we can just easily detect what car you're driving in.
That's pretty cool that we got some European cars supported. Right?
I know, that's very exciting.
Yeah, hopefully you can get some more European data, some high-speed German Autobahn data, and some types of data that we're missing still a little bit. Over 90% of our data is still from the US.
Yeah.
This skews how the model will perform.
Yeah, so this guy's loud, isn't he? This truck.
Slow down right here.
Yeah, so we're still using the Audi longitudinal. Apparently it's not very good, I've heard.
I mean, it's not as good as stopped cars. It's not as good as openpilot or some of the other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, lateral is much better at lane changes. Those are kind of not smooth sometimes in the old releases. So that's much improved, which is nice.
It's true, and things like exit, going for exits and stuff, I've never had happen.
Yeah, that kind of stuff has improved much.
The laneless model. So for anyone who wants to know how to get laneless working, you just have to go into toggles of 083 and scroll down right here. It says disable use of lane lines alpha, and of course it's an experiment, so always be vigilant. But it's nice that we have a toggle people can actually try it out really easily.
Okay, so you notice your path is red if you use laneless. That's just to make it very clear that you're not running in the standard mode. One of the things that's still different with laneless, which is what we're trying to work on, is there's not as much corrective pressure. So if you deviate from the path a little bit, let's say I push it over here, it's not going to push back as quickly as with the lane lines. That's just kind of like a tuning thing. We have to make the controller, be aware of how certain the model is of driving in a certain place, and then we can make it aggressive if the model's very sure it wants to be somewhere else, or smooth if it's not that sure it wants to be somewhere else. That's just kind of a project we haven't really done yet. But yeah, once we do that, we use the model's uncertainty to tune the aggressiveness of the steering controller, we should be able to prevent slipping into turns too much. If the road's very banked, then it kind of pushes it into the turn, or having it hug sometimes on some parts of the road.
Yeah, someone asked, the toggle will only activate if you turn your vehicle on and off. If you're trying to activate it mid-drive, that won't work.
Oh yeah, that doesn't work. I mean, that's true for all the toggles, right?
Exactly, yeah. Any other questions about 083 or the laneless model? Let's see. People keep asking if you can use comma in left-hand drive countries.
Yeah, there's a toggle for that.
I guess it's right-hand drive. I guess we're in left-hand drive.
There's a toggle for
that. Right there, enable right-hand drive.
Yeah, so when you put the toggle, two things happen. One is that the driver monitoring system will start monitoring the person in the other seat, which is obviously important. And the other is we actually input into the driving model that the traffic is now on the left side of the road. And so that should make sure that it doesn't like always try to go right on like a two-way road with no other people.
Yeah, that's super cool. Someone asked, will laneless replace the current model, or does it just adapt for situations without lanes? I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of a gradual thing. There's situations where the lane lines won't really work that well, and so in those situations, we want to rely on the laneless model. And as we, progress with the quality of laneless, that will be more and more situations, because laneless can do things like, if you pass by a truck close by, a human would kind of go out of the way a little bit and give the truck more space. And laneless should do that when it's good enough. And so when we're at that stage, we kind of want to use more and more laneless. But yeah, it's going to be a gradual thing.
Yeah, that was a good question. But already right now, we use laneless if obviously there's no lane lines when you're going through an intersection, things like that, and when making lane changes. So yeah, even if you don't have the toggle enabled, lane changes will be a lot smoother this release, just because it's using a much better laneless model.
Yeah, and also when going by exits, it switches to the laneless policy, because then the lane lines go apart, so it doesn't really know what else to do. Intersections, when lane lines are uncertain, it also uses the laneless policy. The laneless policy is actually used quite a lot already. The toggle is just there to make you, so you can try out what it's like if you just drive purely without lane lines, to see what the model's really understanding about how humans drive. I think it's a pretty cool little feature.
Yeah, and again, the way to know if you're on laneless is you'll see the red path, and there won't be any lane lines on the screen. Makes it very clear that you're on laneless. If you're on lane lines, this is white, and then you have the white lines, of course.
Yeah, so if you want the improved lane changes and stuff, that's all going to be there with or without the toggle, since, it's the same model still driving. It's just whether we use the lane lines the model predicts to plan the path.
Yeah. Someone asked if speeds over 90 will be supported ever.
So the speeds over 90, the reason we reduced the speed is because we saw from some data that at very high speed, the model can get kind of confused, because we've trained on so little data of high speed that the model doesn't really know what's going on. It's kind of out of the training distribution. So this is the only reason we did that. As soon as we have enough data of high speed and that we've confirmed that the model doesn't get confused at those speeds, we can raise it again. It's just, now we've tested it, we know that at this point it's getting confused, and so as soon as we have enough high-speed data and the model doesn't get confused anymore, we can increase it again.
Yep.
So if you do drive fast, just make sure you upload your data, and then that process will go faster.
Yeah, any of those Autobahn users out there?
Yeah, any German Autobahn users, I guess that's the most of the high-speed data we see.
Yeah. Someone asked, how do we stay so innovative?
We stay so innovative. I don't know. It's just fun, I guess. It's fun to see you guys' feedback and see that you guys like it. So it's very motivating and inspiring to keep working on it. We've got a really good team who all feel the same way and all are really into solving these problems.
Yeah, it's nice because everyone at Comma drives on the devices and drives with the models, so we can talk about it at lunch and dinner and how we feel and stuff, and we all just chat about our experience, and we all like it a lot.
It's good that we're users of our own system. I think it's kind of important to encourage our development.
Exactly.
I think it looks like we're getting into traffic here, so maybe I should try to get off.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Disengage here, too a little slow for lane changes.
Yeah, someone asked if big model is implemented yet.
So big model, we kind of have the training stuff ready to go, but there's some reasons that we're not really pushing hard on that yet. We've just noticed that most of the issues that openpilot has, the situations it struggles with, wouldn't really be solved by big model, so it's not that way. It's why it wasn't really a priority yet. Laneless was a much bigger priority because we think that's the highest leverage approach to improve the quality of driving. But I mean, the architecture is there. As soon as we start seeing that it's going to help a lot with certain situations, we'll start pushing on shipping that.
Yeah. Yeah, Brevin asked if laneless will like move over for semis and stuff yet. Things like that.
Well, I don't know. Does it? It should, and it definitely will at some point. I don't know how well it already works. With the lane line policy, you know, it's never going to do that just because it's not designed to ever react to things like that. The laneless policy is designed to react like that because humans do. I don't know if it's good enough to do that yet. I guess we'll just have to see. As it will improve at some point, it will start doing those kind of human things. It definitely should move over for like opposing traffic. I've definitely noticed that if there's opposing traffic that comes, it will kind of go out of the way a little bit, which makes sense because, you know, everyone pretty much does that.
Yeah. So we got the Kale model, as it's called. And if you want to learn more about the Kale model, there's a whole blog post describing the challenges and how we got around those to solving or to making it what it is today, I guess.
Yeah, I think we tried our best to describe in as short as possible kind of the whole strategy we use to get to laneless models. If you're interested in this kind of stuff, you can always come discuss in Discord. There's some channel about with models as the topic that people come discuss model stuff that have interest in it. So feel free to come discuss there if you're interested or have questions about the blog post.
Yeah. Cool. Any other questions? This was a pretty comprehensive review or overview of laneless, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything else we didn't discuss about laneless.
Yeah. Someone asked what the next big challenge is. I think we already said kind of the longitudinal thing will be another big challenge, right?
Yeah. I think there's two now that the laneless works, we can really kind of iterate on that and improve that. So that's going to be a big thing we'll be working on. And then the other big thing is, trying to start like doing more end-to-end longitudinal stuff. It'd be nice to do vision-based longitudinal as well without using the radar so that all cars will work exactly the same. We don't have to rely on the radar to get good performance.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, so, you know, eventually when vision only is good enough, maybe we'll have like a toggle similar to now and, you know, figure all that out later. But that's still a far down the road thing.
Yeah, I think, we'll look into whether we can make it work with just a model. I mean, we haven't really spent much effort on longitudinal in a long time. Lateral's taken kind of priority. So I think as soon as we kind of really start working on it again, I'm pretty confident that we can quickly improve things.
Yeah.
Slow down for turns would be really nice to get working.
Oh yeah, that'd be huge. I think most of my disengagements are, you know, coming off an exit or whatever, things like that.
I mean, we've experimented with some kinds of slow down for turn in the past, but it's always like, it doesn't work super well, and if it messes up, it's just really uncomfortable. If it slows down too much, you get really frustrated. The problem is you can't really help with the gas or brake with openpilot. You can override the steering, but not the gas or brake. So mistakes are very, kind of intolerable. They always lead to a disengagement.
Yeah. Someone said my 2013 Golf works.
Wait, really?
Wow, nice.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That's the cool thing with MQB is like, it's been the same for who knows how long, all the messages and everything. So, I mean, if you have like an old car that didn't even have lane keep assist, it's probably pretty easy to activate it as long as you already have, you know, adaptive cruise on your car.
It's pretty fascinating how some cars keep changing their APIs and systems, and Volkswagen's just been keeping it the same this whole time.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Nice. Yeah, so here we're back. Yeah, this is really the type of road that the driving also has kind of struggled with. Lane lines can just be really hard to see because of the sun, because they're so washed out compared to the light gray road. So yeah, for our commute, laneless is definitely helping. Although the lane lines are also much better now in the new release, because we're using the new segnet that Comma Pencil people have helped create. Thank you for all the efforts of labeling in the Comma Pencil project. Definitely a huge help.
Yeah, all the Comma Pencil people are the best.
Yeah, it's really helping us along.
So that's true. Everyone's going to have better lane line identification no matter what.
Thanks to Coma Pencil.
On pencil. All right.
Yeah, is there anything else we...
I feel like that was a good overview. 083 was released a few days ago, so if you have a Comma 2, you can get it right now. Just should already have prompted you to update. And it's a great time to get a Comma 2 if you haven't gotten one already, because we have the first release with working laneless, and you know everything's gonna get better as time goes on. Think of where we were a year ago.
Yeah, exactly. It just keeps getting better and better. Every time I think back to what the problems with old releases, I'm just so excited about how far we've come.
Yeah, it's really crazy. So yeah, Comma 2 is $10.99, and then you can get a harness for an extra $200 and get all the hardware you would need. So, all right. Well, we're gonna be driving back to the office now on laneless, but
Alright.
I guess we'll see you all later.
Alright, that was fun. See you guys.
Yeah, definitely check out the Kale post, and if you have a supported car, definitely consider checking out openpilot. All right, bye everyone.
Bye, guys.